JProject, and zero probability. Proving the accuracy of prophetic psychic communication with God through the pursuit of justice is our primary objective. In the case of NBA star Lorenzen Wright, information provided by psychic channel and prophetic medium Abigail Noel has proven to be 100% accurate. This same information was given by Abigail to investigative authorities mere days after the discovery of Lorenzen Wright's body. 9 years later, justice has yet to be served.
He is loved. He is the most loved son by Memphis, Tennessee, and he will always be. He was a humble star with a heart of gold. That's what I was told to say for him, and that was by God the Father, who I call Dad. Infinite love and gratitude. And he's telling me to say right now that Lorenzen was welcomed home with open arms. Open arms. Infinite love and gratitude, which I will tell you is more than the NBA did to help. And let me just go there, infinite love and gratitude. It is more than the NBA did to help. Oh, no, or the city of Memphis. Nobody wanted to dirty their hands. Judgment. Which part of no judgment do they not get, the N or the O? Infinite love and gratitude. More could have been done. Ren's spirit came to me July 28th, the day that his body was found. That's when I saw that news flash. I immediately started seeing through the eyes of Lorenzen. He took me to the scene where he was murdered that evening. I could feel his emotions. I could feel the confusion, the fear, the rage, the terror. The other thing is I didn't even know who Lorenzen Wright was. I want to say this as well. I didn't know anyone. I don't know anybody who's involved in this personally. I got no pony in this race. This is not personal. The only thing I've got here is I would like justice. I would like justice, and I really understand it was part of my contract to make sure that the information that was brought to me through Lorenzen's eyes and through Father God himself is at least made public. I saw who this man was. I saw how much he loved. I saw how much he loved children and dogs and people. Infinite love and gratitude. He said to me one time, this was Lorenzen Wright, he said to me, "Why did I have so much when other people had so little, man? It's just basketball. That's all it is, just basketball. It's all I do. Why would they give me so much?" Really wanted to do justice tonight in making sure that that was clear about what an amazing person he was. He was known to be so incredibly giving that he sacrificed, himself many, many, many times to help his sister and his mother and his cousins and his friends. Anybody who asked, he was there. Infinite love and gratitude. He was known for having a huge heart on the court and off. This is a man who played 778 games. That's not even including championships. Basketball, man. He was with the Sacramento Kings. He was with the LA Clippers. He was with the Cavaliers. He, of course, was with the Memphis Grizzlies. Infinite love and gratitude for that. He is loved. He is the most loved son by Memphis, Tennessee, and he will always be. I am just speaking the truth that is shown to me, and I mean this with all of the respect and with love, but if there's someone who doesn't like what I have to say about who did this and why, then please prove me wrong. Answer these questions. If I'm wrong, great, prove it. If the police won't do this stuff, then we've got to do it. When his body was found, the first detective on the scene was Detective Dennis McNeil. And I'm going to bring that name up a few times this evening because I really want to ask. I really would just like Mr. McNeil to let me know. He's a family man, father of two. He was working for narcotics, actually, in love and gratitude. He's married to Bobby Cole's sister. Yes, into love and gratitude. And so Spirit brought him up as a person of suspect. And I'm not accusing. I'm just bringing through what happened. And so And we'll get more to that with Mr. McNeil, but my question for Detective McNeil right now is, how come you were the first one on the scene? How did he know? And how did he get there first? Because there is no such thing as coincidence, only synchronicity. And Detective McNeil is a friend of the Wright family. Detective McNeil knew Lorenzen Wright very well, in fact, so well that Lorenzen got him a job with security for the Memphis Grizzlies. So that's my question, Detective McNeil. With respect, can you please explain that? We'd like an explanation. Memphis would like an explanation. Lorenzen's family would like an explanation. And we'll get more to Detective McNeil in just a moment. So I'm going to walk through the events of the evening as they were shown to me through the eyes of Lorenzen Wright, who I have now come to love dearly and who I call Ren. So justice for Ren, that's what this is about. And what I'm shown again is that he was dropped off that evening. She says he left at 10:30. I'm told he left more like 10:44. I'm told, and this was validated by his sister actually. All of this, I had dollar amounts given to me. I said it's about $110,000. They said he's going to flip something for cash, and I said, and he had drugs on him, more than one kind. There's two different types of drugs. Insulin gratitude. All of that was validated by his sister and even his ex-wife Shara. Even his ex-wife Shara said that he left the house that night with a bag full of drugs to go flip something for $110,000. There it all is. Bam, validated. With that said, Shara also said that she didn't know who Ren left with. Now, she's known this man since he was 17 years old. They have 6 children together. He was just at her house. She's all up in his business is what I'm told. She knew there's no way she's going to know he left with a bag full of drugs and some cash, but he's not going to tell her who he left with. Please. That just doesn't make any sense, guys. Can you take that from your head to your heart and tell me if that makes any sense? So, Shara, that's 2 things, my love. Can you tell me why you had a fire in your backyard in July, number 1, and tell us you were burning garbage, please? And number 2, that you really didn't know who Ren left with? Seriously. I suppose you don't know what the car looked like either, because I saw you looking out the living room window when they drove away, and you left that evening with Kenny Brown. Infinite love and gratitude. That is who he left that evening with. After they left her house at about 10:44, because they were meeting 2 other people, Ren thought, infinite love and gratitude, for a whole other reason. He didn't know they were going to shoot his face off that evening. He didn't know that. He thought he was walking next to a friend. Betrayal. Connect to that betrayal. With that said, they left about 10:44. What I'm told next is that they went to go get a burger. That's what I think. That's what I'm shown. Infinite love and gratitude. Not what I think, it's what I'm shown. It's what I feel. They went to get something to eat. At least one of them had a burger. After that, I see him rolling a joint. Infinite love and gratitude to that. Shout out to Bob Marley, please. So going back, Lorenzen and Kenny Brown, that's what I'm told, and that was validated. I had the K name. I described his physical features as compared to Ren when they were walking, what he was wearing. Okay, and all of this was validated through his family, since they knew immediately who I was talking about. Kenny Brown, that's our K name. That's who he was with. So Lorenzen and he go to meet these guys at a place called Callous Cutoff. And that's over by Hacks Cross. And this was a secluded road, especially 4 years ago. They showed me when they got into the car. Ren had even commented on Kenny Brown's dress that day because he wore dark clothing. What I'm shown is nylon running pants and a darker T-shirt. And Ren had asked him, why? My understanding, what I'm shown, and if this can be validated, that would be great. I haven't seen anywhere, but I'm shown he's in a white shirt and khaki shorts. Because in July in Memphis, if anyone hasn't been to the South, oh, Lord, in love and gratitude, it can get a little muggy out here. Bam, validated. During that read, I asked him point blank, do you know who did this to you? And I immediately saw a wedding ring, and I saw his wife, Shara. That's who I came to know her as. I didn't have a name that day. He showed me her face and the wedding ring. And I'm gonna tell you the words, because this is what he said to me. I will not censor spirit. He said, the bitch, that bitch did this. That is what he said to me. He said, she always wants more. It's never enough, he said. It's never enough. It was always about money. Infinite love and gratitude. And let's go back for a moment. When Lorenzen Wright was 17, she was 22. That's when she grabbed hold of him. Now, I'm not judging. I'm just telling you. This is it. She was 22. He was 17. He was going to be a rising star. Everybody knew it. And so they had a lot of babies, 6 children, so she could seal that deal and make sure the finances were going to roll. Infinite love and gratitude again. No judgment, just truth. Just truth. Here's a good question. You're like, why? Why would his ex-wife do something like that? And I know to many of us, for our hearts, it's like unfathomable. You know, like, really? Someone would just do that to the father of her 6 children? Why? Why would they do that? For cash. For cash. Ren had fallen behind on his child support. She already felt. She already wanted. She felt used. She was angry. They were divorced. They'd been divorced 5 months prior. And now Ren was dating this little hot thing here in town. So he had something else going for him when he's here in town. She wanted revenge. She wanted money. She gained a lot of cash, folks.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money.
Dollar. Ching, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter. Ching, bling, bling, patent pocket. You take the dollar, can a damn soul stop it?
All you got to do is go online. Influm Gratitude Retirement Fund, insurance, lots of it. And she has spent lots of it as well. No judgment, but let's just get the facts straight. So she wanted revenge. There's one more piece to this, too, because this was shown to me. She suffered with Bell's palsy a few years ago, and this is what was shown to me. I got to speak it, and this is what I do. I tap into emotions. She really blamed him in a way for the stress, the anxiety, and the anger that she had been feeling. Just bam. And she literally felt that he was responsible for this condition. And it deadened the nerves in her face. She didn't feel as attractive. It affects the way she speaks. So that really hit her third chakra. It really hit her self-esteem. And that just enraged her even more. Please, Shara, can you tell me why there was a fire in your backyard, in your fire pit in July in Tennessee? Really? Nobody, I don't know anybody that builds a fire, and you told the police it was for garbage. Well, I'm here to tell you, they'll pick up anything off that curb. You could put beds down there, mattresses, chairs, televisions, anything you can put on the curb, they pick it up. So again, I want a better explanation as to why there was a fire in your backyard in July. Because what I'm shown is that's where Kenny burned the clothes he wore that night. That's right, Kenny Brown. That is who he left with that evening, a good friend of his. He and Shara had been fucking for about a year. Sorry, it wasn't making love. Having sex, how's that? Infinite love and gratitude for about a year. That's what I'm shown. If I'm wrong, great, prove it.
Don't cry. You make the bed in which you lie.
And tell me why you had a fire in your backyard in July. But I'm shown he had to burn the clothing he wore that night. They run into 2 people, and immediately, and I asked Ren, I said, I could tell through his eyes, but I asked him, I said, did you know these other 2 people? And he said, yes, he had seen them all. One of the 2 shooters, he knew more than the other. I was given a name. I was given the name Big Bill. This has a lot to do with, and I won't go into this a whole lot because I wasn't asked by Spirit, but that has a lot to do with when Lorenzen, he was indicted for some possible involvement with some laundering and some cars. And so I'm glad that goes back to Bobby Cole. Again, let's not forget, Bobby Cole's sister is married to Detective Dennis McNeil, the first one on the scene. Imagine that. There's no such thing as coincidence, folks, only synchronicity. So I would just like some answers for all of this synchronicity. Infinite love and gratitude. So with that said, I was told, yes, he knew both the shooters. And I'm going to describe what happened because it was very quick. he literally walked up. They walked up to these other two people thinking there was going to be an exchange made, that it was going to be at least, when I say honorable, at least what they had said, what they had told him, what had been agreed upon. He didn't know they were going to pull two guns out and shove one right in his face. Into love and gratitude, the words that Big Bill said to him, I got the words. He said, what you going to do now, pretty boy, basketball star? What you going to do now, motherfucker? And he shoots. Ren had called the 911 call, which was right after midnight. So when this burst starts going on, he's calling 911. When he sees they're going to pull that trigger, he lifts up his hand in front of his face to try and block himself. The first bullet went through his wrist. Infinite love and gratitude. In fact, when I drove to the site the first time, my wrist on my left hand just kept aching, and that'll happen a lot. Infinite love and gratitude. With that said, he lifts it up. It goes through his wrist. The second bullet went right into pretty much his temple on the left side. And with that said, he crossed on the second shot. That's when everything goes black for me. But then it's 12 bullets. There are 10 more shots. I mean, complete overkill. 10 more shots after that. What I'm shown is they had come earlier in the day and cut the fence so that they could take Ren's body and pull him out into this field, into love and gratitude, where really nobody goes. And then you've got, a line of trees in front of it, so it'd be very, very tough to see him from the road. So with that said, what I'm told, the second shooter, so we've got Big Bill. He's a very large gentleman, both in weight and stature. The second person, I believe he may have a J initial in his name or an L or both. And he's smaller in frame. He's got a scar, I believe, on his left. And he really didn't want to have anything to do with this. It's the emotion I got. But he had no way out. So I wouldn't call him the main shooter. I think he was more trying to save his own neck by being there. Infinite love and gratitude. With that said, Big Bill, his name is William. My understanding is there's a Mississippi connection. The shooters were paid $20,000, and they got a car. It's an Escalade. Infinite love and gratitude. It's an Escalade, and it's the pearl color, and I believe it's somewhere in Mississippi. It hasn't already been apprehended. The VIN number was scratched off, is what I'm sure. There is not proper registration on the car as well. So I want to just put those details out there. But that's what, everyone would say, well, why would someone do that to him? Jealousy, comparison. They were jealous, what are you going to do, pretty boy, basketball star, infinite love and gratitude. So they took his life for $20,000 in a car, infinite love and gratitude. It's really important, I think, that gets out there. They took the second phone, not the phone that the 911 call was made from, but the phone, the second phone, which was a prepaid phone. So Detective McNeil, please, two things. If you really are a friend of the family and you were a friend of Lorenzen Wright, then please just give an explanation for why you just happened to be the first person on the scene. Because I'm told that you already knew that he had crossed and you knew it was going to happen. That's what I'm told. So please, if that's not correct, man, speak up. Tell us what's really going on. And I'm also told, though, that you were paid in love and gratitude, that you were working from the inside, and that there's some money that went into your bank account. And so if this is not true, then it's very easy. Detective McNeil, please. If you loved Renzen and you want to help them, prove me wrong, because I'm asking. I am going to leave this name out for a lot of different reasons, but I met with somebody who was very high up here in the state of Tennessee. I will say that. He was the only person who came through to try and help with this. And I've made phone calls to everyone. And so with that said, I'd like to send him infinite love and gratitude. When I met with this person, I was able to fully describe Detective McNeil, and I was even able to tell him that he was a family man, still married, father of two, who used to work in narcotics but now has more of a desk-type job. And all of that was validated by this gentleman who knew who he was immediately. So, again, if I'm not right, Detective McNeil, please come forward and tell me where I'm wrong. Because people would say, well, how do you know that you've got a spirit, or a soul that's with you or walking, as they say, in my light? The only way I can explain that is just, there's a presence. to me, in fact, I've gotten to the place where I'm not sure it matters. I know it doesn't matter to heaven, so it doesn't matter to me whether someone's in a body or out of body. I can sense them. I can feel their emotions. What Father God says to me is that we all have the ability to connect and speak to each other's hearts. And so I think that's the way I would explain it. And so my heart just knows. I didn't know him in body, but he walked with me for 11 months after, when he was out of body, until he did go home to heaven, to the light, infinite love and gratitude. And I am honored to have held that space and assisted him in working with his emotions. I'd like to get this out on Facebook and on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and all that good stuff, and really just call for justice in this particular case.